Hey all, welcome to the weekly Killer Instinct Twitch stream. And we're going to be showing you off some cool stuff. We've got some familiar faces here. We've got Dan Fornese. He's a designer on our team. He's been working on the game since the very beginning. You guys are just now seeing him though, last week and this week. And Campbell Tran, you know, the man, the myth, the legend. Full of surprises each week. And and myself, I'm Torrin Reddick. I'm the producer on the Microsoft side on Killer Instincts. And today we're going to be showing you guys some cool stuff from practice mode. We're going to be exploring some ideas in the game, some interesting ideas around the combat in the game, and things that are important, things to look out for, and some interesting uniqueness. Some interesting uniqueness to our combat system. Oh, and Adam Icegreen is joining us too.
Hello, Adam!
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, so are we there?
I don't want to invade Campbell's personal space.
There's only like 3 inches.
Yeah, I know. So it's just there he is. There he is. Yeah.
Floating king. Anyway.
So anyway, let's rock and roll. So I guess what we're going to start out with, we're going to talk about autos and how you break them.
Yeah. Alright, so we've done a lot of talking throughout the development of this game about like where the characters are going and all that, but us in general, we haven't talked a lot about the individual system and really haven't gotten into a ton of detail on this stream. So I know when you watch this game and you do combos, they start to look pretty overwhelming. Like it looks like I'm just doing a ton of stuff here, but it's really much simpler than we make it look. So first we'll go with how breakers work. So what I just did right there was an opener into an auto double, and you see people playing this game get breakers pretty consistently on auto doubles, and you might be wondering how that works. So how that does work is after an opener, you can do one of 6 auto doubles depending on the button you press. As a defender in that situation, you want to look for the first hit there, and then when you see it, you react to it and press the corresponding button. So since I'm hitting the heavy punch button here, again, it's hitting both the heavy punch and the heavy kick buttons on reaction to that and breaking me every time. The heavy buttons give you more time to react than the light buttons do, but the heavy buttons also add a ton more potential damage, which we may go into in a second if we have more time.
Sure.
So what does that mean to you as a player? What that means to you is there is a small learning curve at the beginning of the game where once you start playing, this stuff will start to look a little overwhelming for about 10 minutes. Hours?
That's Campbell time.
It's getting a read.
Campbell, we got some feedback. They wish that you could talk and play.
Talk and
So
play.
tell you
Wow,
what,
that's like walking
why don't you play?
Yeah.
I'll chat about this as we're going. So one of the things you got to look for is you start having to learn the tells. One of the big steps in learning how to play KI well is to look for the tells on all of the autos and the manuals. So, for example, if Campbell here goes and does his heavy again, right? So go ahead and do your heavy into your heavy. See that nice how the sword, you get that nice hilt in the air. That's a real frame tell that you can understand that this is going to be a heavy, right?
Yeah. There's also a kick version of heavies also. So
Right.
it's hard kick.
You get that knee.
Yeah.
So one of the things about playing against the characters is you have to learn their tells for their doubles. Right, so there was fierce, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, as you start to learn, so part of a fighting game is obviously knowing the character that you're playing, but a lot of the other nuances to being good at a fighting game, right? Heavy rabbits, are knowing how the other character is playing, right? And so for us, a lot of that is learning the tells of all of the different doubles. And then there's you want to talk a little bit about manuals while we're at it?
Yeah.
Since we're talking about this whole system.
So, like I said, if you are looking for some auto doubles, you can break them on reaction every time, and that leaves on the guy doing the combo to mix it up more. And the best ways to mix it up first are start doing light ones because those are harder to break. They give you much less time than these 2 big chunky hits over there.
Right.
But a different way to mix it up for the defender is to do what we call a manual. I didn't do one right there, but a manual. Slow down.
So
I'm gonna
manuals, see, this is
There we go.
So this is the thing we like about the system is manuals are basically waiting until hit recovery is almost done on the part of the victim in order for you to input another move. And so their braking timing is extremely strict, but their input timing is strict too. It's one of those things that even for really good players like Campbell, it's easy to fall out and miss your heavies, which leads to a lot of interesting strategy between when do I use autos, when do I use heavies, and then how do I get a player to kind of, how can I bait players into using some of these moves so that I can do really fun things like counter breakers? Yeah. You want to talk about that?
Sure. So another way besides manuals to get to do combos that don't get broken right away is to start using counter breakers. A really common way to get people to do that. Let me back a bit. What a counter breaker does is it cancels whatever you're doing into this pose right now.
Whoa.
And it makes Saber Wolf really
Saber
slow
Wolf
after
was
that.
so annoying he went into instinct mode on seeing a counter breaker.
So during that pose right there is a decently sized window where if Dan had attempted a combo breaker at all, doesn't even matter if it was the right one, I will grab it and proceed to lock him out and get a whole new combo right there. So let's try to break me after the first hit here. Yeah, so now I have to go nuts, and he has a 4-second lockout.
Right. Our normal lockout is 3 seconds for guessing on the breakers.
Yes.
But you get a 4-second lockout. It also resets your combo so that all of the combo that you built up that you have to go towards an ender, you can basically reset if you get a counter break.
So basically, you get a longer.
So theoretically, if someone was really good at reading someone, and this would be the most hype thing ever in a tournament finale, would be that somebody actually counter breakers multiple times and is actually able to kill somebody completely through a bar in one combo.
I didn't see it.
I think theoretically it's possible. We've never seen it happen. We've seen it I've seen one counter breakers. We've seen, godlike 60-70% combos. I've never seen 100% combo.
Yeah.
It could happen though.
But in practice, you can do it.
Theoretically,
you set it up.
It could happen. So you would probably have to do a big reset on the combo.
Yeah.
To get that.
So going back to manuals, so what do they do for you? So one, your window to break a manual is small enough that you can't even do it on reaction. You just have to do a straight up guess. So to give an example, I'll do a laser sword and accidentally instinct. I'll do a laser sword. So I just linked or manual a standing heavy punch. I'm not doing anything.
There you go.
There we go. Okay. Once I get used to the timing of this key, there we go.
You did it!
So those were all manuals. Obviously manuals are harder to break, but like you said, the timing on them is really strict, and you have to get used to doing them.
And actually, like light manuals are easier to pull off than medium or heavy manuals. So
Yeah.
It really is a frame window kind of situation.
Yeah, and depending on the move you are trying to manual from, you might not have access to all three strengths of buttons,
Right.
depending on your speed.
Right. It's just like a manual attack in that they all have ranges. Autos will magnetize you to the other character in a way that you can basically continue a combo pretty easily, but manuals don't do that. So anytime you're using a manual in a combo, which you can do some really cool things when you use them, you have to be really aware of your distance and spacing in order to pull them off.
Yeah, and a final thing about manuals is that auto doubles actually do, for the most part, do more damage. So if I do this a few times, this is a few times.
They are hard.
Okay, 9% with the two.
He's getting an auto.
See,
So like we said, they're tough.
13% and like way more potential damage. So if I do get to end that combo, like the damage difference is pretty significant for doing autos over manuals. So there's a good give and take on why
Right.
you would pick one or
Right.
the other.
Manuals might be safer, but you're never going to land as much damage as autos. Right.
Yes, and also when you play the auto double game, you get to land counter breakers like this. Because while you can counter breaker while going for a manual, you'll just get a lot more opportunities of going for auto doubles.
Yeah, 70% damage.
70%, and he still had more hits he could have added.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
But then you might get broken, so...
Yeah, you
it's
might
a-
get broken.
it's a
Risk
risk.
all that
risk,
damage.
so it's a risk reward. But we're looking forward to those hype, tournament situations where the guy just, he has nothing left to lose, so he might as well risk it all.
Yeah.
And if he can read the opponent well enough, then he can just make a tremendous comeback.
Right, and this is something that, we've talked about this for a while when we've done streams and talked about KI, but one of the things that's really important to us is being able to know another player. You see a lot in tournaments people when they're like, oh, I've got this guy downloaded, I totally know what he's going to do. And that's a really big part of our game, and how that manifests in ours is through breakers and knowing people go into habits. Like, oh, every time Dan, after he does his charge with Saberwolf, he always does mediums. So it's getting into that habits, and then using those habits against the other player in a way that you can turn it around to your advantage.
Yep.
On that note, we start talking about shadow counters.
Just say about shadow.
We have tons of questions too, so let me know when you guys are ready to take
Or,
those.
or since we're about to switch
Yeah, we can
topics.
do.
So while Tori's looking for questions, let's
Yeah.
talk about
Yeah,
shadow
yeah.
counters.
That's a good one.
So what a shadow counter does is it cancels your block reaction straight into
That
this
one?
counter
Alright,
pose.
so
And you see right there, there's no invincibility on the shadow counter that comes after the shadow counter. So to get these to work properly, the best way to do it is to shadow counter on the second to last hit right there. So shadow moves all at 5 hits. So I just wait for the fourth one, and then the shadow counter.
Shadow countering, of course, implied by its name, does burn section meter. We're in training mode right now, so you're not seeing meter getting burned, or it's regenning really quickly. But basically, it always, that one's really tough.
Yeah, that
Like,
one is tough.
some of the moves are much harder to shadow counter. Nice, you got it.
is there any? Oh, sorry, Adam.
No, I was gonna say things like obviously Saberwolf's overhead claw there and Glacius' shoulder are really difficult because they hit so quickly.
They hit so fast.
Yeah, and Sedira's kick is like that.
Yeah, so we had one question.
It's going so fast.
Yeah, one question were there any thoughts of adding Shadow Ender into?
So shadow combos. The whole idea that you could shadow an entire combo was something that was really cool in KI2. I think it was, God, I can't remember. I'm horrible. I feel bad now. But it's something we always really liked. We haven't thought about a way to do it yet that would be really. I mean, yeah, we could put it on. We could tack it onto a combo and make it all shadow. We can start with the shadow move, but we'd like to explore making it a little cooler than that. Right, and making it more functional. Like, a lot of the stuff we want to put in the game, the reason we haven't put in a lot of things that are more just for show is because we really wanted to get the engine and the combat system feeling really excellent and solid first. So as we look at shadow combos, another way to think of it is like, yeah, but if you're shadowing a combo, does that mean I can break on any 3 moves? Because one of the things we haven't talked about yet is how you break shadow moves. So why don't we
This
talk
is
about that
something really
first, because this kind of leads into, while Campbell's just abusing Dan in the corner
Break
there.
shadow linkers.
Poor Saberwolf. So let's talk about shadow moves in combos and how you break them.
A quick question first: can we plink in KI?
As far as I know, not at this moment. I do think there are DH guys on.
That DH would be better.
Yeah.
That's that one.
Yeah,
It's
if they're
like-
there, they can.
I don't even play 2 articles, so I couldn't.
He's got that.
Please include shadow enders.
Okay. Yeah.
Mike
Nice.
says only double tap.
That's because you missed
Right.
the shadow.
Only double tap.
So you can only plink on. You can only double tap.
So right there, I just planked the manual. That's pretty sweet.
Well, there
it
we
was,
go.
I don't make sure I was looking.
No plank. No plank.
No play.
No plink.
Is that for Mike?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that a request or a command?
There was an exclamation point, so I'm gonna
So
go
I'm
with
assuming that Mike is saying that there is not plinking.
No plink.
hate plank.
Gotcha.
No
Mike
plinking.
says hate plank. So I
Well,
don't know what that
how can
means.
we solve it?
And we don't
Yeah,
put
that's
things
fair
that we
either.
hate.
That should be
Yeah,
a
I'm
t-shirt.
really not.
I hate plank. I just
Yeah.
hate plank.
Yeah.
That should be our new T-shirt. No plinking.
No plank. Can we
Yeah.
answer that one?
So let's talk about shadows and combos.
Yeah.
So how do you break shadows? So we've shown you that you can break autos and you can break manuals basically by guessing the power level. Shadows are kind of the same way, except you don't have to worry about power level. What you have to worry about is hit timing. So in order to break a shadow,
So in order to break a shadow, the first is a little complicated thing. The shadow movement has to hit in the middle of a combo.
It's be a linker.
Has to
it
be
can't be an opener.
Yeah, if the shadow move is an opener, then you cannot plink.
Yeah, he waited too long, so he heard the 1-2. He locked himself out there. So how you break shadows and combos is you have to tap out any 2 equal power buttons on the hits, and you have to get 3 of those. They don't have to be sequential, but they have to be on the hits.
Right, so you can hit the first one, the third one, the fifth one, or the third.
Well, no, you can't hit the 5th. You have to hit it.
Oh yeah, right.
No. No, because the 5th wouldn't count. You have to get 3 hits. There, like that.
All right.
Oh yeah. Sorry, you have to start it.
Yeah.
And the game, you might have heard, you hear their announcement go 1, 2, 3. As he's doing this.
And see, that's actually a great psychological tool, because what you can do is if someone's beating on you with a combo and they use a shadow move, you've got the advantage to basically going 1-2 and then seeing if they go into a shadow counter. Because if they go to shadow counter you, right, you can counter break it, right? Or if you go to counter break, you can counter break them. So you have this interesting mental game going on of, do I do 2 of them immediately on the first 2 hits, wait and see what the other guy does, to see if he does a counter breaker, and then he's basically open if he didn't do anything. So again, the deal, Campbell said, the deal is trying to build we're trying to build more of the mental game even around breaking, right? In ways that you can pressure the opponent that's dealing damage on you to rethink the idea of finishing a combo.
Okay, what about this one?
You're just mashing.
Yeah, that's the wicket. The wicket is bad.
So
okay.
basically,
So,
never accept responsibility
we have a
for failure
question.
and blame the TV.
what advantage is there on having wall bounce combos, not knockdown, when there is no wall to push the opponent on?
There's a few good ones actually. So Dan, do a quick combo into the wall bounce into mid straight. So right there, like it's a really fast situation. If Saberwolf immediately dashes,
Saberwolf, well, that was
he's
slow.
immediately behind.
Yeah, Saberwolf can immediately dash, and if the player's not waiting for it, you can either go for a throw or you can go right back into a combo. And go. Too slow. So that was even too, you can get it to the timing where the minute that combo is ending, you're dashing right behind it. So with Saberwolf, it's a really great advantage to be able to push people around, too. I want him in the corner, like that. There we go.
And from that range, he can also do his overhead opener or his low.
He can slide. So suddenly, where heavy knockdowns are really kind of a really great thing in fighting against the setup, meaties, and other ways of kind of mixing up the players that are on wake up. Some of the characters can do that just off of the wall bounce done mid-screen.
And I believe the timing works out as such that if after that wall bounce Saberwolf immediately dashes, the other guy does something, it will just go the wrong way and Saberwolf immediately. Just based on the timing of it.
Depends on if the guy moves, right? Yeah.
Like if both guys do
that.
something as good as possible, I'm pretty sure Jago 6 has a good well.
Yeah, and depending on the ender level you use, actually gives Saberwolf an advantage.
Maybe dead.
So if you do a level 1 ender with Saber though, on that, I think it's closer. Anyway, there's neat advantages that you can play around.
It definitely works.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can get into the instinct mode cancel.
Instinct mode cancel.
Yeah.
So if any of you guys have ever played, Marvel or Guilty Gear, many other games, many games give you the ability to cancel a move directly into nothing, like your idle stance, like that. So, So what does that do for you? It does a ton of things. It makes unsafe moves safe, like this uppercut right here. It makes moves that you can't combo off of, like this uppercut, start combos. Once this instinct move goes away, again.
Back up.
Let me think of combo.
Right, so
But you have to hit. But
the idea is also, the great thing about instant cancel is it's not just for offense. So, for example, if you were doing a move, let's say you started to do a shadow move against somebody who you really shouldn't have because they have meter and they can shadow counter you. You can immediately hit instinct to stop that move, make your attack safe, and then do a new attack with basically 0 recovery.
Yep.
So you have all these neat ways of basically turning the tide of the battle using instant cancels. I've even seen it happen where someone messes up, is pressuring you with a move, you're going to get shadow countered, instant cancels, the other guy then instant cancels over the instant cancel in order to get the advantage again, and then basically turn the combo back around. So you have two shots at reversal, essentially, using instant cancels.
So let's try that. So I'll do a shadow move. You shadow counter. I'm gonna instant cancel, and then we're both gonna start mashing.
And it'll go perfectly.
It's gonna go great because this is live. Yeah, that's
No, I missed it.
Okay, block first.
yeah. So there you go. So
Campbell thinks
So,
chess notation.
Campbell essentially used instant cancel to get out of the fact he was about to be shadow countered,
And then I mashed.
and then he mashed to pull out a move so you could basically break that combo. So again, neat uses of it. You can also use it to cancel ultras.
Oh yes, yeah. So you guys have seen that a lot. People do an ultra, they get all the hits, they use all their bar, they activate the instinct mode, and they basically do a second
Another full
combo.
combo.
And that's how a lot of people are getting above 100 hits right now.
Yep.
Pretty cool stuff. I actually haven't given the high hit count challenge yet.
Yeah, Thunder is still the record.
What's that at?
136. Yeah, pretty impressive. The thing is that I think you can get even longer ones if it led into from a counterbreaker combo.
Oh yeah.
A counterbreaker combo into an ender, into an ultra, canceled into more combo, into an ultra again.
Yeah.
It's probably going to lead to some insane. I can't wait to see the videos.
Yeah.
So
for some
activating
reason-
instinct is really good outside of combos, but inside of combos, it also resets
It
your
resets your
combo
KV.
limit.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Compliment.
yeah, your combo limit.
Ah, right. Sorry.
So
Old
yeah,
school nomenclature. Sorry.
yes, we're still internally KV.
Yeah.
You can also use it kind of like you would in Marvel. Like you can use it to stop time, see what's going on, like while
Yeah,
Jake
get a
is doing
second of like, wait, what's going on?
it. Yeah, and then do the right move. For Thunder, it's really good there because you activate it, see if they're grabbable, if they do it, if they are, you
Grab
do
it.
it.
Right.
If they're not, you don't forget. It's kind of fun.
Oh, jeez.
What?
Dude, question ladies here, chill out.
That?
Don't worry, it'll be fine. I'm question ladies here.
Okay, well,
I love it.
All right, question later, Venus.
Let's see.
Question: is there a restart button or instant back button to restart both characters in the middle of the play? So
Currently, that is on the menu. I believe the menu has a reset option in the training mode. It does, but we don't have it on a button right now. It would be it's something we can definitely look at.
That would be
Yeah, that would be nice.
that is very definitely.
And that's something that's in a lot of other fighting games.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah, it's for some people.
yeah. You don't really need taunt in the middle of in the
No.
middle of training.
Do we have any Grey Coupon?
Yes, as a matter of fact, you do. But of
Is that why
course.
question ladies off the spell?
No, it's because there's a bunch of dudes in here. That's why it smells like Grey Coupon.
I don't even want to go there.
Yeah, we won't even talk about lockout.
Come on, let's talk about lockout.
Yeah.
Okay, so
last topic, and then we can get into some fisticuffs.
So
Yeah.
one thing a lot of people don't know about Lockout is that the UI will show two different kinds of X's based on how you messed up your combo breaker. So Dan, let's mess up this breaker with a different button than Fierce. See, that was a red X with an orange exclamation point. So that means you pressed the wrong button. So now let's try to get the orange one. So I'll do a jab auto double, and you'll probably naturally type as strong as well. There we go. Orange X with a white exclamation point. So even though it's a pretty brief window that's up there, it tells you basically all you need to know about why you missed your combo breaker, which is pretty important.
Yeah.
So that's on the defensive side. On the offensive side,
Well, what does it tell you? What is?
Yeah, so you didn't actually. So the difference is the white exclamation point means that you mistimed the breaker.
yes.
It means
Your
that,
timing
that
was
you
off.
did not hit during the time that you could have broken the attack.
Yeah, it may have been the right button, may not have been the timing.
But your timing was off in the window that you had to break. The red X with the orange exclamation point means that you actually got the timing correctly, but you guessed the wrong power level. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to make it I'll let you see into the mind of the defender a little more, and make that kind of something that's got a little more hype behind it. Because originally we didn't have that in, and it was cool, but it felt like something was missing, and we wanted, again, in keeping with kind of getting more people into fighting games and letting them learn about what's cool about fighting games and the fun of them, we wanted to give them more insight into what the other player was doing, even not be aggressive. And so doing the lockout mechanic was one of the things that really helps kind of deliver the hype. It's like, oh, he's gonna get it now. Because generally that's when all of the beating starts, and then you get lockout. The minute it goes away, you better be thinking about ending your combo because the other guy can break again.
Or thinking about
The other player.
Yep. And then the nice thing too, so a counter breaker actually also adds a lockout.
Yeah.
Yes.
4 second lockdown.
And counter breaker is a 4-second lockout, whereas a regular lockout is 3 seconds. So with a character like Saberwolf doing his rabbits, that's a lot of damage you're putting out if you keep doing rabbits for 4 seconds. Oh,
But the idea is you try to bait out the lockout, or if you see the lockout, then
immediately go for big damage.
You take advantage of
Yeah.
all those moves that you kind of been
Right.
pulling
So-
off,
so
like
for
heavy
example,
doubles,
right,
stuff like
Instant
that.
exactly.
cancels if you want.
It's the difference between when you use manuals and when you use autos, and then you see that lockout, you better be doing the special things your character has to build the most combo value possible and the most potential damage, or you better be doing heavy autos.
Yeah.
And basically just adding damage as fast as you can before that thing finishes.
So as luck would have it, both of these characters on the screen have 2 special character-only abilities that allow them to maximize damage after getting a lockdown. So what Jacob can do is he can,
Well, not even a lockout, he can just do it in combo.
well, yeah, he can just do it whenever, but especially useful during a lockout is he can cancel auto doubles downward into another auto double all the way back around back to heavy. So I'm gonna do heavy, medium, light,
Heavy, medium,
Light.
light, and then you can end it.
Yeah.
So if you look at the bar up top, watch his white stuff go away. Now watch how much potential damage this does.
Oh my god, now cast.
Yeah, so just that quick, already 43% damage.
And that was with no shadow meter, no anything. That was
Yeah.
just basically a combo that anyone can do.
Yeah, that's what we call Jago's round world,
Right.
because of
And-
the way it works.
and
It's
it-
kind of akin to the original
Yeah.
KI system where you kind of piano down the buttons. So
Yeah, it's an homage to the original KI games, and that you had to always piano down the buttons and kind of do that waterfall.
You can also mix and match punches and kicks.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
have to do all punches. You can completely mix it up. You make it look all stylish.
And there's no limit to, well, besides the combo limit itself, you can go around 7.
Yeah, you could basically go around twice fully, instant cancel, and then do it 2 more times. If the guy was really that bad at not breaking you, because it's pretty obvious that you're going to be, if you start doing around the worlds, it's pretty obvious what you're doing, and the guy's going to know heavy, medium, light, heavy, medium, light.
Yep. And then Saberwolf, he has his rabbit doubles, which we showed you guys before. But
Alright guys, so we're gonna switch back into regular fight mode, so I'm just gonna show you our beautiful host mugs right now. Alright, so
And
switch
they
to fight
are-
mode.
Okay.
So yeah.
Alright,
We're
so
gonna
we're
kick
going into fight mode.
This is because we have some cool things that we don't want to show you in training yet.
Yeah. Ooh, super secret
That's
screen.
All right.
All
Go back
right.
in.
Hiders.
Right.
Alright, so go back. You guys ready? Not quite yet?
No, we're ready.
Okay.
We're good.
And we're back. There you go.
And we'll do something.
The window.
Yeah.
We're streaming from
Sadira
inside
is always fun.
Inside Studios, so we are actually checking out what Question Lady's office looks like.
Smells
It's
like
true.
grape
If you
Poupon.
rotated the camera around, you'd be pretty impressed. Pretty awesome.
There'd be a giant jumble of wires and unicorns.
Yeah, there are lots of unicorns in this office. It's really true.
Unicorns and dudes. Somehow the dudes doesn't go together.
Now, there was a request to show the sticks. We can rotate the sticks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So there are.
Oh. What, is it
It wouldn't be me if I didn't miss something.
Is it true that Major Nelson will be the 8th secret character?
Oh, you bet. Larry is totally on board. with it.
Nothing says.
And we've given him all of his fighting powers that he has in real life, so you can expect that it's going to be quite a match against all of these other simply powered characters.
How close to finish is the main roster in terms of gameplay and balancing? I think that's a safe one to answer in the sense that, like,
Oh, yeah.
we can't.
The main roster, as in
Like,
the
the game,
six,
yeah.
the initial 6.
The initial six are pretty.
Yeah, they're all.
They're getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're.
The others are
You can only play as Major Nelson.
Well,
You guys
I-
are running with her.
No, I think Major Nelson can only clear to Major Nelson. That's
As far as the pin question goes, I know we're getting a lot of those. We're just not talking about that today, guys, but stay tuned. As soon as we can talk about it more, we definitely will.
yeah, there's a lot of information we can get to. There's a great post on Peyoke's talked about it.
Yep.
We've talked about it. There's some great information when you play XBLA. There's a wonderful, nice chart you can look at of all the different versions and what we're kind of offering. The main version is for the people that really want to collect.